everyone. Good afternoon. How are you today? Very good. Well, it is great to be here at the Foley and to be here with all of you. I'm Linda Dorcena-Forry, the state senator, and we're happy that the mayor is here with us, Mayor Marty Walsh. We're happy we're joined today by the state representative, Nick Collins, who's here with us. Also, we're happy we're joined by City Councilor Anissa at-large, Anissa Isabi-George, who's here with us. We have a great delegation in South Boston. Councilor Michael Flaherty is in a meeting, but he's trying to get here. Congressman Stephen Lynch, who you all know, unfortunately could not be here this morning, and also City Councilor Bill Lenahan. And so we're just happy to be here with all of you and to join all the residents here. But we want to say a special thank you, right? Because this is happening in terms of us raising the American flag and raising the POW-MIA flag because we got a call. And we got a call from Jerry. Where's Jerry? There she is. Come on here, Jerry. You know your resident leader. Jerry, come sit here, Jerry. Jerry called the office. There you go. She needs our bell. There you go. Very good. Jerry called and said, you know what? We need flags. Very, very important because we recognize and appreciate the men and women who did everything for us, right here. Thank you for your service. And thank you for putting everything on the line for us that we can serve in office. And so when we got the call from Jerry to say that, listen, we need to get new flags, so we got to work, right? Because that's what it's about. We got to work. So I can tell you that Rep. Nick Collins reached out to Congressman Stephen Lynch to get the American flag that was flown over Congress, right? Yep. And was able to get the American flag here. The very next day, not messing around. We reached out to our great Mayor Marty Walsh, who's no stranger to South Boston. You all know him. He was a state rep before, but doing this incredible work. We reached out to the mayor. The mayor connected us to his commissioner of Veteran Services, who's Giselle Sterling, and we were able to get the POW-MIA flag. And so, there goes Commissioner. And so we're just grateful today that all of us are here to celebrate the folks here at the Foley, celebrate obviously the dedication to our veterans who live here as well, but really for the service, right? Especially an incredible, incredible country, we know that. So before I go much longer, I want to bring up our mayor because the mayor switched his schedule around because there's a lot going on today. But he wanted to be here to celebrate with the Foley, to be able to raise these the American flag and the POW flag, and really show our appreciation for all of you, the greatest generation. So our great mayor, Marty Walsh.
Thank you, Senator Forry. I want to thank Jerry. I want to thank Senator Forry for bringing us all together today and being the quarterback on this. As you all know, we need a good quarterback. We have one, and I want to thank Linda for that. I also want to thank Nick Collins, who's no stranger to anyone here at this building, but anywhere in South Boston, who does an incredible job representing South Boston and parts of Dorchester at the State House. So I want to thank Nick. And Anissa Isabi-George, who grew up not too far from this building, down in St. Margaret's Parish, is now citywide city councilor. I want to thank Billy McGonigal, the director of the Boston Housing Authority. A couple people said about selling the Foley. I said, you kidding me? Billy McGonigal for something would never let that happen. And that would never happen. So if that rumor's out there, forget about it. Just end it right there. End it right there. But I want to thank Billy. You know, Billy's responsible. We started a program about a year and a half ago to house homeless veterans in the city of Boston. And when we started the program last year, we've housed, with the help of Giselle Sterling, our Veterans Commissioner, Billy McGonigal, the elected officials, we've housed nearly 800 homeless vets in the city of Boston in a year and a half period. When you think about that, that's a pretty big number when you think about the amount of vets that we have out in the streets. And we're going to continue. We have a process now to make sure that any homeless vet that becomes homeless, we have a system to get them back into housing. So that's the collaboration of a lot of people here today. Emily Shea from our Elderly Commission is here as well. A lot of you know Emily. I want to thank Emily for her support. Two more thank yous. One is to Congressman Stephen Lynch. Steve Lynch was a state representative in this neighborhood, became a state senator in this neighborhood. went down to Congress, represented us since October of 2001 down in Congress. And one of the committees that he asked to be on was the Armed Services Committee. And Stephen has gone overseas to Afghanistan and Iraq probably almost 13, 14 times since he's been down. He's one of the people that goes down to those areas where our men and women are fighting for us and offer them support. He comes back and fights for them in Congress. I know that when the senator called him about the flag, it was when Nick called him about the flag, the next day it was here. Stevie Lynch, you know what he means to this country and to this neighborhood. I want to thank Stevie Lynch. But most importantly, in a couple of days we celebrate a very important day in this country, and that's Veterans Day. And I think that, people, as time goes on, people often forget, if it weren't for our veterans, particularly World War I, World War II, Korea, there's a good chance that the world that we know and the country we know isn't the country it is today. And I want to thank the servicemen and women, the Gold Star families for their service in those 3 wars. But since that time, Vietnam, what happened in Iraq, the Iraqi freedom, what's happening now, people are, and our soldiers, men and women, who put their life on the line for our freedom, we can't forget them. So as Veterans Day approaches, and it's fitting to be here today to raise this new flag that flew over the United States Capitol here in South Boston, I want to thank all of you, the veterans, all of the families, and the greatest generation. Thank you, even if you weren't a veteran, thank you for what you did for our country and for all of us, because you give us the opportunity to do what we do every day. So thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. I'm happy that the mayor recognized Bill McGonigal, who's head of the Boston Housing Authority. I gotta tell you, the Foley is a nice building. It is amazing. And he continues to work with all of you, so thank you for your leadership. Want to recognize another leader in South Boston. That was a leader before I got here, right, as your state senator. And that's Ambassador Ray Flynn, who's here. All right? And his grandson. And Ambassador Flynn and his grandson, Braden. Okay, very good. At this moment, I'd like to bring up our great state representative who's doing great work. We work collaboratively on many issues that impact the community. Please give it up for Representative Nick Collins.
Thank you, Senator. I know I've been in front of many of you in the last 24 hours, so I'm sorry you're seeing me twice. But I'm honored to be here. Events like this are really important, remind us why we do what we do, not just to thank the people that came before us that provide the freedom that we cherish, but also, remind us as a community, that things are a little bit bigger than us. And I know there's an election coming up in a few days, and I really hope people get out and vote. Don't be fooled by my tie. I'm not voting for Donald Trump. But what makes this community work are also the people behind the scenes. So I want to thank the task force who work very closely with Bill McGonigal and the people at BHA to make this community, and particularly our senior housing, as good as it possibly can. We're always trying to do better, and the people that work for us that make this thing work. And I want to thank my staff, Dave Beal, who worked with a lot of you, and Sean Pierce, who works for Dorcena-Forry, and Serafina works for Dorcena-Forry, and the staff that the mayor has. I know Dan Manning's here, and his team, John Allison. Those are the people that help us get things done and really, represent you as best we can. So I want to thank them, thank the task force, thank the BHA, and not just to thank the residents for putting us in the position that we are to advocate on your behalf, but thank you for what you do for the community.
Thank you for being a great partner and really fighting for this community with all your district. I want to bring up next Bill McGonigal, right? Head of the Boston Housing Authority, to say a few words today.
Thank you, Senator. Good to see you. It's always a pleasure to come to Foley Apartments. I've been coming down here as an official for BHA for, about 35 years now. It's one of the hidden jewels, or not so hidden jewels, we have in South Boston. And as the mayor said, if there's any chatter about selling this place, I haven't heard it, but I can assure you it's not going to happen. This will continue. This will continue to be affordable housing with a beautiful ocean view for our seniors and our disabled folks in this neighborhood and in the city of Boston for generations to come. So thank you all for coming. I hope John.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you. And as the mayor mentioned, you know, here we are, we're about to celebrate Veterans Day, or to really remember, right, our men and women who are fighting for us in service. But really today, as we put up these flags, it's also remembering those who are prisoners of war or missing in action as well. But to recognize the families and to thank them for putting everything on the line for us, as I said. And I want you to know that Mayor Walsh is committed to veteran services and veterans issues. And that's very important because we have an incredible partner who understands, you know, the tribulations that come, right, when you serve and you come back home. And so he was in the legislature before that. He was a state representative. And he knew and he worked hard on these issues. And I can tell you we continue to work on that in the legislature because Massachusetts is one of the only states that has the best veteran services in the country, right? Can we do more? Of course we can. But when we have veterans who are coming back home and we're talking about housing, as you heard the mayor say, that he's focusing on housing our veterans, that's important. And we're working on that around the whole state. When we talk about jobs for veterans, 2 sessions ago, we changed laws to say veterans, we want veterans to have priorities around small businesses, right? If we have veterans who are small business owners, we want them to be able to participate in contracts with the state and to be able to get resources. And so we're also talking about mental health services and issues around addiction that's impacting our veterans because we know it's the holistic approach that we need to take. And I just want you all to know as veterans and as families and friends and folks here at the Foley who have worked hard to make today happen, that we have not forgotten because we work on these issues every day. And so I want to bring up the commissioner because the mayor is committed. He had a commissioner before, Commissioner Giselle Sterling, who's now Commissioner of Veteran Services for the state. But it's so awesome that he brought on a woman veteran, you know, to be the Commissioner of Veteran Services for the city of Boston. Please put your hands together for Giselle Sterling.
So really quickly, as was said, before I had the privilege of working for the city of Boston, I had the honor of serving in the United States Marine Corps, and I'm really here for the veterans and all of our friends of veterans. Can I please have all our veterans please raise their hand? Thank you for your service. But anytime there's anything that has to do with veterans, that there's an issue, please, I'm just here to let you know that my door is open for you. I'm here for you, and that's what I'm here for. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. I also want to recognize, as we're wrapping up the program so we could really hear and invite veterans as well and residents to say a few words. I want to recognize one of South Boston's sons, who's also a veteran, and that's Eddie Flynn, who's here. So thank you. Thank you. Eddie Flynn. So Jerry, where is Jerry? Is she going to speak? Jerry? Yes. You want to say a few words, Jerry? This is you before we raise the flag. Yes. Do it. Come on. And our veterans as well, if you would like to say a few words, okay?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to all of you for coming. It took a little bit getting it together, but we finally did. Perseverance. Thank you to my veterans. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. We'd have a lot of problems. So I want to thank you very much. Actually, just thank you to everybody for coming down, making the effort to be here, and enjoy it. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Enjoy this.
Good job. Would any of you gentlemen like to say?
Go ahead, Nick.
Go ahead, John. You can do it.
Come on.
Honey,
get up there.
I'm terrible in front of people. I get
Mike, get up there.
Where's Mike? Hey, yeah, Mike. Come on, Mike.
Richard.
Come on, come on.
Okay.
Mike, you're the veteran of the veterans here.
I want to bring up Michael Hayes, who
All
has
right,
done a
Michael.
lot of work
Good man.
for this event as well and putting it together. So thank you for your service.
Short and sweet, folks. Very important. As they said, Veterans Day is approaching very fast. We can't forget sacrifice. That's what it comes down to. Sacrifice and commitment that went towards that. So, in a nutshell, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
And at this moment, we are going to raise the flags, but we do ask for a moment of silence as we remember our loved ones or our friends, folks we didn't even know, just Americans who served our great country and put everything on the line for us. And for the Gold Star families who lost loved ones, right? But we also give thanks to our veterans who are sitting here today, who during everything, they made it back home. And we give thanks. And we want to pray and think of the prisoners of war and those missing in action that did not make it home, or those that were captured, like Senator McCain, and spent 5.5 years in a prisoner of war camp, right? And lost mobility in his arm, but he could have left, which is incredible, because he was a son of a military family, right? And his father was high ranked in the military. And so after a year of being in a camp, Senator McCain could have left. But he said, no, I'm not going to leave. Because there are other people here, other Americans, that are in prison too. So who am I to take that year and to leave? And so he stayed. And so please rise as we take a moment of silence, or sit as well, and then we will raise the flag. Thank you. Thank you.